That's loud. Oh, that's kind of interesting. We should look at that. Do I have a I have multi-stream chat on. Wait, is this even live? What does intermission do?
Whoa,
Whoa,
fancy.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
zooming
Zooming
right
right
into
into
my
my
face
face
because
because
I'm
I'm
not
not
seated
seated
positioned
positioned
properly.
properly.
All
All
right.
right. Right.
There's
There's
two
two
mics.
mics. Cancel that one. Properties, postulates. Yep. All right. Well, this is why you have a second monitor, I guess. Does the multi-chat actually work? I should have this like top half. There we go. Streamlabs multi-chat. Streamlabs dashboard. Rim's not really messy. Not messy at all. Multi-chat. There it is, multi-chat. Let's see how that works. Yo. Oh. Well, would you look at that? It works. That's pretty neat. Hey. Why is there multiple people talking? Today we will be looking at Mr. Nightmare. Also testing this budget setup. No Blue Yeti mic. No video games right now. I do need to share my screen, however. Look at that fancy transition, you know? Gameplay. I think I'm gonna have to... I think it's called video capture. Display capture, share monitor, add source. 420 hertz monitor. I mean, you guys can't even see it though. It's fine. Capture method, automatic display, 25G. Sounds about right. 1080p monitor. What can I say? Oh, you can't see it. There we go. All right. Well, we're gonna be watching some Mr. Nightmare. I wanna just wanna do one short story. Let's see. What kind of short story is there? Has Mr. Nightmare even been posting? True fishing horror stories. Why don't we just look at that one real quick? Why not? This is kind of just a test stream to just see how things are working. Hey, this setup's looking pretty sweet though, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, well, here we go. Just testing out. Alright. Story 1 by Kenny. Alright, Kenny, let's see what you got.
There's this lake that my brother and I used to fish. We'd use live bait, usually crickets or worms, and we'd catch a ton of bluegill. It was a fun time, and some of those early memories are the reason I've been such an avid fisherman for most of my life. The lake wasn't the most popular fishing spot, despite being pretty well stocked from what I can remember. I think most of the locals just found it inconvenient and inaccessible unless you were prepared to hike through the woods a bit, which my brother and I always were. The seclusion was actually one of my favorite things about it, almost like I was sharing a private activity that not everyone got to experience. Everyone knows the best.
Wait a minute. Do I even have a live chat on the screen? I don't think I do. What is this? Chat box. Can I copy this chat box and just put it on here? Can I paste? What did I paste? I think I pasted a chat box. Let me see. Test. Oh, you can see the live chat. Sure can. Good. No video games today. Oh, wait, hold on. Be right back, because I need to take a piss. That's pretty neat. Excellent. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live intermission. Boom. Hey, what's up? Very, very simple live stream setup. Just whip on the Ugreen webcam, whip on the headset. Straight up. Streamlabs does everything else for me. So appreciate Streamlabs, man. Shout out to Streamlabs. I guess Windows PC always works out. It's just that. Sorry, I keep looking at the left corner because that's where my face cam is. But so welcome to the YouTube video as well. This is just a quick, short YouTube video. We're gonna be reacting to just one fishing horror story before I have to go eat the prison food that prison guards got for me later on. But we'll just have a look at this video, test it out. The settings I'm currently using, I could quickly show you guys the settings I am using right now, though. So I will show you guys the settings real quick.
Happens during periods of low.
Can you stop the video? Let me show you the recording settings I'm using right now because I want to see how well it works. I'm going to be using DaVinci to export this video, but right now, the output recording I am using is this. Oh, you can't even see my screen, my bad. Oh, fancy transition. So yeah, these are the recording settings I'm using. NVIDIA 2.264, CQP, QC levels 20, P5, high quality tune, multipass. I mean, it's going to change when we go gaming. Shout out to, DeepSeek for helping me out for calibrating this today. So yeah, we're going to do that. All right. So let's do the first horror story. We're going to quickly recap from the beginning and just raw footage. So let's react it. This cable doesn't even work. It's just going to dangle around. All right. We're only going to do one story today. Just one story. So I keep looking at my own webcam because it's in the corner there. But I should be looking at you. Okay, well, let's get a start on story one. We're only going to be listening to one story today because I still got a bunch of stuff to set up. But this is just a little test. No video games today. Fine. Fishing horror story. Story one from Kenny. All right. Let's see the
There's this
horror.
lake that my brother and I used to fish. We'd use live bait, usually crickets or worms, and we'd catch a ton of bluegill. It was a fun time, and some of those early memories are the reason I've been such an avid fisherman for most of my life. The lake wasn't the most popular fishing spot, despite being pretty well stocked from what I can remember. I think most of the locals just found it inconvenient and inaccessible unless you were prepared to hike through the woods a bit, which my brother and I always were. The seclusion was actually one of my favorite things about it, almost like I was sharing a private activity that not everyone got to experience. Everyone knows the best lake fishing happens during periods of low light, meaning early morning or late evening.
Yep.
It's more customary to wake up at the crack of dawn and get out early, but my brother and I developed this habit of going out later in the day and staying into the night. It was our substitute for whatever most high school kids did at that time of night on the weekend. Probably partying and whatnot.
Fair enough.
It was a Friday night, and everything was going according to plan. We reached the lake just as the sun started to set, and by the time we were all baited up, the sun was already starting to dip. We were positioned at the edge of the lake on this little formation of rocks that made a good comfortable surface for us and all our excess gear. It was something we had done hundreds of times. As we were fishing though, something caught my eye on the far side of the lake. There was movement in the water, and by the sheer rippling of it, I was surprised it had taken me so long to notice. I pointed it out to JJ, and the two of us strained our eyes in confusion, wondering what was causing it. Keep in mind, this lake was pretty sizable, and when coupled with the low visibility, it wasn't like you could see perfectly clearly across it. But then, as we were both looking at the ripples in the water, something happened that I would have never expected, not in a million years. A dark mass started rising out of the water where the ripples had been, and as it emerged, my assumption that it had been a huge fish was immediately dispelled. It was not a fish. It was way too big and way too upright. There was only one explanation, really. I think my brother and I realized it at the same time, because I heard him curse at the same time I did. It was a person.
What?
Think about how strange that is on its own. Not only was there a literal person in a somewhat private lake after sunset, but they had just been submerged below the surface. And not just that, they must have been down there for quite some time too. Otherwise we would have noticed them earlier.
Scuba diving
It
for
was
stuff.
freaky enough to quicken my heartbeat a little, and I got this compelling urge to leave.
What?
My brother didn't want to though, saying that we had just gotten out there, and that person in the lake was too far away to have any kind of effect on us. I figured he wasn't wrong, so the two of us spent the next few minutes watching the person in the lake, trying to rationalize the sight.
Did he have like...
They were swaying back and forth, rhythmically, almost hypnotically.
Well, I mean, it depends on the vision you see, but like, you know, if he's been down there for a while, he's probably got some kind of scuba gear or snorkel, right? You know, people go down into the river and like, you know, scuba dive. Maybe it's Jeremy Wade. You never know. But I mean, it depends, because if you can't really see the person, you don't know if he's got like an oxygen tank or, you know, he's just chilling all across the other lake. If that was me, I wouldn't really care right now, because the lake I fish at, people are literally swimming in it, so you know it is what it is. Plus, when you're fishing, you got like a knife and it's nothing really to worry about, right? The only thing you worry about is like crocodiles and stuff. All right, well, so the context is across the other side of the lake, they see some human rise up from the waters. So either he's snorkeling or he's like, I don't know, we'll see.
Their movements weren't jerky or choppy, but perfectly fluid, like they were commanding the water around them as opposed to merely cutting through it. Our fishing poles were all but neglected at that point, lying there untouched while the two of us kept our attention fixated on the strange sight across the lake. Was it possible they were fishing? No, that seemed ridiculous. Fishing underwater? Unheard of. JJ suggested that maybe they were enjoying a night swim, which was plausible, until I grazed the surface of the lake with my hand and instantly recoiled at how cold it was. You'd have to be a psycho to enjoy swimming in temperatures that low. Without much else to do besides ignore them and keep fishing, I snapped out of my trance and encouraged my brother to do the same. But when I looked over at him, I realized that he was either much more invested or much more scared than I was, maybe both. Instead of heeding my advice, he sat there motionlessly with his lips slightly parted and his eyes glued to the lake. He wasn't even holding his fishing pole anymore. I said his name a few times in frustration before he finally averted his gaze, instinctively picking his fishing pole back up. With a little shake of his hand, he said sorry, and the two of us tried to resume fishing, although it was pretty clear that our attention was elsewhere. I'm not really sure what I expected to happen. I guess I figured that person would eventually get out of the lake, or notice us, or do something other than just stand there. After a few minutes of mindlessly casting and reeling, JJ tapped my shoulder and said, "Look." I looked back across the lake just in time to see that person submerge again, disappearing below the surface. I found myself staring at the spot they had just been, expecting them to reappear any second, but they didn't. A minute passed, and then another. It dawned on me that JJ had his phone out with a stopwatch running. As it ticked up past 2 minutes, I grew increasingly astonished at how long they were holding their breath.
So you confirmed that they don't have an oxygen tank? Because you know there is that portable oxygen tank. I've seen it on YouTube. There is this handheld handheld oxygen tank. No. Okay. I know there was a YouTuber that has done this. Look, I'll show you the YouTuber right now so we don't get too scared. Well, I'm not scared, but I'm just saying that. What is that guy called? Crap. He was a YouTuber that pranks. Putting items on fisherman's... Putting random objects on fisherman line. This guy. William Powell. Look. Look. Oh wait, this literally is probably the same guy. No joke. Look. He's got a portable oxygen tank.
That 3-meter flatty is mine. So today,
Except instead, this guy's literally going to the fishermen and like diving underneath and touching their lines.
days, these dogs are never gonna see me.
See, like he goes underwater, and then they're fishing, and then he can just attach things to it.
Take this, you fucking dog.
But that's because they're bait fishing. You see? I mean, imagine. See, look, he's got a portable oxygen tank. It's just that he's doing it in the bright daylight, and it's probably fake, paid actors or something. But you know, that's how if the horror story could be this guy. No joke, could be this guy. Stand there with a little small oxygen tank and then go underwater for minutes and then probably go miss if you're lying.
On your jetty. Now I've just cracked the code to fuck them off forever. All you gotta do is find their line, their hook it on to their shittest catch ever, yank on it like it's a fish, they'll wind it in and they'll fuck off forever.
Yeah, like, but these guys are just in a different setting. These guys are in Sunset, so keep that in mind.
JJ theorized that maybe it was someone training, and I almost laughed at the thought of an Olympic diver testing their lung capacity out there in a freezing cold lake in the middle of nowhere after the sun had set. Suddenly, the thought wasn't so funny anymore, and I started packing up, telling JJ we were leaving. But he held me back, saying he wanted to wait and see how long they could hold their breath for. I told him fine, but gathered up our stuff anyway, feeling that urge to leave start creeping back in. Just before the 3-minute mark, I noticed ripples in the water again. Only this time, they were much closer. 1/5 of the way out instead of all the way on the other side. The realization that this person had not only held their breath for nearly 3 minutes, but had done so while swimming was enough for me to raise my voice at JJ. This time he didn't argue, and the two of us stood up, preparing to leave. But we couldn't go just yet. The curiosity was far too strong. JJ and I watched as the person started emerging again, and this time we could see them clear as day. To my utter surprise, it was actually a woman, not a man like I had anticipated. She had long brown hair and was wearing what looked like a dark green swimsuit. And there was one more thing I need to mention. She was kind of beautiful. She didn't look much older than we were, maybe a year or two if I had to guess. The moment I saw her, I instantly felt less intimidated, less scared too. I started wondering if maybe my brother and I had been too hasty with our intention to leave. The two of us were still frozen in place though, and she was actually the one who broke the silence. She flashed an alluring smile and said, "Hi," almost like she was trying to be playful and coy, like she hadn't just held her breath for 3 minutes while swimming through a freezing cold lake. She was definitely a strong swimmer. It was obvious from the way she bobbed around, seeming just as comfortable in the water as most people would on land. I was dumbfounded, too perplexed to speak, but my brother blurted out the question I was dying to ask. He asked her what she was doing, and I had to remind myself that she was behaving like a crazy person, as harmless as she looked. She leaned her head back and said she was swimming. My brother said, well, yeah, obviously, then asked her if she was training for something. She gave us another teasing smile and said something like that, then glided a little closer to us. Then she actually asked us if we wanted to join her. Pure insanity. I spoke up for the first time, asking her if she was crazy and telling her the water was freezing. She laughed and called us bitches, then said we'd get used to the temperature fast. JJ said no, and she started glaring at us with a finger on her lip like she was thinking. I don't know if it was her cavalier attitude or the icy look in her eye, but the alarm bell started ringing, and I was terrified all over again. There were so many things I wanted to ask her. Who was she? Was she alone? How long had she been out there? Did she live nearby? But I didn't. Instead, I just grabbed JJ's shoulder and told the pretty lake girl we were leaving. I'm not sure what I was expecting her to do, but I definitely wasn't expecting her to start screaming. She screamed no at the top of her lungs, and I stumbled backwards out of pure shock. My brother and I made sure we weren't leaving any of our stuff behind and then started running away from the lake. She kept screaming after us though. She was yelling for us to come back and get in the water. As if that wasn't horrifying enough, she just started shrieking at one point. Not words, just shrieking. It sounded like someone being stabbed. I could still hear her behind us by the time we were halfway back to the car. Part of me was expecting her to get out of the water and start chasing us, but I don't know if she ever did. By the time we made it back to the car, JJ already had the police on the line.
What?
He told them what had happened, and even though they asked us to stay nearby so they could question us,
Yeah,
he
right.
told them he didn't feel comfortable doing that, then hung
Yeah,
up.
right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. The crazy person in the lake. Hey, why don't you stay at the lake and, wait for us to come so we can question you? Smart. JJ smart. Smart for that one. I don't stand around. You can question me later. Not now. I'm leaving.
I probably would have done the same thing. That's
Fair
how
enough.
badly I wanted to get out of there. You might think the experience would have discouraged my brother and I from continuing to fish there, and it did, but only for a while. We actually did go back a fair amount, though for the first handful of outings, we made sure to bring our dad with us. It took some convincing to get him to believe
How old are these guys?
us, but he ultimately did. He was pretty curious and wanted to see this strange girl for himself, but we never saw her again. For all we knew, the police had found her and dealt with her however they decided to. It became somewhat of a shared joke between my brother and I. It actually got to a point where every time we fished that lake, a little part of us wanted to see her again. But now that more time's passed, and that lake is no longer part of my life, I've begun to recognize the strangeness and horror of it all. She was probably just mentally ill. That's the explanation I ultimately decided on. My brother has some interesting theories of his own, but I find them all silly and unrealistic. Either way, I doubt anything as unexplainable and as strange as what happened that night will ever happen to me again.
Alright, well, I mean, I could theorize that story. We're not going to watch the rest of them. That's a short and long enough video. Alright, my theory is that this woman wanted the lake to herself. I'm not sure if they're kids or not, but, kind of just scream and make them run away, I guess. So now she's got the lake to herself. No hooks, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's not really much of a horror story. Sure, it's cold to swim in, but like, I can imagine that, scare the kids away, start screaming, going crazy. And then now they left, and now you got the lake all to yourself. Sweet ass. Chill. You know? Seems pretty normal to me. Oh, not normal, but like, that's the only explanation I could come up with. That she just wanted the lake to herself, so scare off the kids. Just start screaming. I would say they're probably exaggerating when they said shrieking like being stabbed. I would say that it's just like she was just screaming, scaring them off. But again, we don't actually hear the shriek. We don't know how we don't know the way she was screaming, but sounds to me like it ain't really scary or anything. Ghosts aren't real, paranormal activity ain't real. So it's just, crazy person. Not crazy person, you don't know. Maybe they're just normal. I don't know. Overall though, that horror story was pretty mid. If I ever encountered such scenario, nah, I'm good. I'm good, bro. Wait, no, what did I just say? Sorry. If I ever encountered that scenario, I'm not even joking. No joke. When I fished at the Lake Rua, there was literally a woman swimming in the lake. I'm not even kidding. She's just swimming in the lake, chilling. It's probably cold as, but she's just chilling. No, it was warm. But yeah, there was actually just a woman swimming in the lake. Only difference is she had like a orange swim cap, and we saw her get out the water and get in the water. But like, she didn't actually approach us. What do you mean by pretty lady? What you on about? Well, that story's pretty mid. Not gonna lie, very boring scenario wise. It's not very scary. Honestly, theorizing is that the woman just wanted a lake for herself and just scared off the kids for the funs of it. Just for the lols. Like Filthy Frank. Straight up Filthy Frank, but in a woman, and I guess, you know. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that short stream and that short video. We're gonna be doing a lot more later on. Setup's looking quite nice. Yeah, the setup's pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure how good it is when it comes to playing video games. We might have to pull out the again. We could use a console, we could use other stuff, but for now though, as I test this out, 20 minutes, I'll see how it goes and see how that settings work. And yep, overall, appreciate y'all for watching. That was a short video, no editing, no need to edit, just a short story. All right, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Bye bye. Ba da da dum 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 da dum dum. How many files was that? That was only 700 megabytes. All right, let me quickly type. Okay, I did a quick test. The file size was only 740 megabytes. I think I can bump